next scheme that we're going to talk about is coaching, and that's Julian Eyre. Julian.
Oh, right, let's see what happens. Nothing. Brilliant. Thank you, everybody. First of all, can I just say I'm really excited about the opportunity that bringing coaching into our organisation gives us. And I think one of the first things I'd want to say about that is that similarly to what we've talked about around leadership, coaching is it's not necessarily something that you have to learn forever. It's innate within all of us, and what we want to try and do is use some frameworks to bring that out in everybody and make some of the conversations that we have within the organisation more powerful and help us to take things forward better and really empower people to do things differently. So that's why what I've said here is, how can it help us to be better leaders? I think one of the things that this really gives us the opportunity to do is link it in with our Leadership for All structure. So I think it's really positive for that reason. So what is coaching? And there are, again, similar to what Tom said, if you Google coaching definition, you probably blow your computer up for a start. There's just so many definitions out there that because I like what he has to say, I went to a chap called Pete Bluckett, who's done a lot of work around coaching. And very simply, it's about helping people learn, improve, develop and change. But it's about individuals as well as teams fulfilling their potential. And so it's not something that a lot of people think of coaching as you need to be sitting in a room and there's just two of you. It can be very different. Coaching conversations can take place in a team. They can take place on the corridor over a cup of tea. Well, probably not tea in a corridor, not a good idea. But wherever you happen to be. And some of this is really about how we do that. And it was really inspirational to hear what Steve had to say about looking inside yourself and what your approaches to leadership are. And some of coaching is about that, really. So when I thought about that, I wondered, what does motivate us as people and as individuals? So I thought, well, let's have a look at what some people say about that. A chap called Daniel Pink identified that there are three key things that really motivate anybody in a workplace, and those are autonomy and the desire to be self-directed and be able to come up with your own ideas and take things forward. The urge to be better at what we do, and we've talked a lot about that today, about how we encourage people to be the best at what they can do. And decide what he calls purpose motive, and that's this idea that we actually that work matters to us, and as long as we can pay the bills, that actually there's something more than that about why we get up in the morning and we come to work, and it's understanding what those things are. And interestingly, when McKinsey did some work around this, and they looked at what are the things other than money, what are the other things that really work, and what they discovered was when they measured people's motivation, most of these things all were at least as effective, if not more effective than money and cash in being the things that make you get up in the morning and come to work. So it is around praise and feedback from your immediate managers, feeling that you have some attention in the organisation, and that you can have one-to-one conversations, that you can have day-to-day contact around what you're trying to do, and a chance to lead and a chance to be involved in projects and feel that your contribution counts in some way. And for me, I think that's where coaching and some of the techniques and skills that coaching can bring to an organisation are really helpful around that. And so what do we mean by all of that? And some of it's around things that you do all of the time, and clinicians in the room will recognise some of the language when you've learned around how you how you take a patient history, how you motivate a patient to follow their treatment plan. It's very similar things. It's about listening. It's about really effective listening and powerful questioning. So asking things, not telling people, getting information back from that person, being able to reflect that back to the person and feed back to them so that their awareness is raised, so they understand more about what's making them tick and why they're motivated to think or act in certain ways. And if you can do that, people can start to see their own potential to change and to do things in a different way, and understand that you can unlock things, sometimes barriers that are in your own mind or barriers that you feel are insurmountable. Through those sorts of conversations, you can find solutions to them and unlock a lot of potential. So a lot of the conversations are around what are the solutions, how can we be innovative about things, and how can we tap into all that innovation that is out there within all of our teams. And that point that we've talked about in terms of the different levels in leadership, that goes right the way through the organisation. And it's a really good opportunity for us to be able to model and share and bring the organisational values and our leadership qualities into day-to-day conversations with people. So, what we want to try and do as part of this scheme is start to build what we're calling a coaching culture, so that it is just part of what we do and how we define ourselves as a group of people working on the Wirral. It absolutely needs commitment from the top, and I'm really, really pleased to say we've got that from Karen right the way through the exec team and into the organisation, that this is something that we want to achieve. And the key point then is embedding it at all points in the organisation, everybody feeling that they can use some of these ideas to share with people. It's absolutely based on our organisational values and the things that we say are important to us as an organisation, and clearly links to what we've already identified this morning in our leadership framework. I think it's really important that what we want this to do as well is support our service improvement framework, which is another piece of work that is ongoing, that will help to support at every level, at individual, team and divisional and organisational level, how we approach continuous service improvement and looking at how we do things with a critical eye but also with an appreciative eye, so that we continue to improve. As we've said, I think Joe said earlier on, Transforming Care Together is our big transformation programme. Coaching conversations and looking at how we approach some of that will really help us to make some of those transformational changes, and ensuring that it's very much integrated into our whole strategy, where we see ourselves going and what our next steps are as an organisation. So what next? What have we done and how is it going to look? Because that's obviously what I'm here to talk to you about, having waffled on for the last 10 minutes, so I do apologise. We've put a bid into the Northwest Leadership Academy, and we're hopeful that that will support what we want to do. But whether or not that comes, we are looking at how we take that forward. And the aim will be that there will be an overall programme. We will look at, as we've said, we need commitment from the very top right the way through the organisation. So there will be some top leader development, the development of a train-the-trainer approach, which will allow some of these key skills that we've talked about, or I've talked about, sorry, to be embedded in the organisation. We'll be looking at developing what we call development trios, where people that have done some of that training and development and who are testing out some of those ideas out in the field with their colleagues, with the people that report to them, so they can support each other, they can learn and grow from what's happened, and take that out back into the workplace. We would look then to roll out those coaching skills right across the organisation, so people have an understanding of why people might talk to them in a different way, and that the conversations that they have might feel different, so that there's a very clear understanding of why we're doing that. And as we've said from the, Joe said earlier on, we hope to start to implement that. We will be implementing that in 2017. I think it's a really exciting opportunity to really help to bring everything that we've already talked about in terms of the leadership framework to life. So I'm very excited about it, as you've probably gathered. I'll shut up now. Thank you.
Thanks, Julian. I am very excited about the coaching culture, development of a coaching culture. I think it is, of all the things we're talking about today, it is the key to how we really start to embed these behaviours, not just in the annual appraisal process, which will be supported by a coaching style, but into those everyday conversations that we have that then help people to develop on a daily basis. So it is a really exciting opportunity.